Namo Namaha Bhaktam Sarvesham Hardam Swagatam. Welcome back to this channel Sanskrit Sopanam. I hope you are doing great. I'm also good. And continuing with our video series on the topic suffixes, pratyaya. So far we have already covered 8 suffixes under the category of krit suffixes. And already 4 videos are out in the same topic. So if you are directly coming to this video, I'll strongly suggest that first go and check the previous 4 videos on this particular topic so that you know what mechanism we are following and what terminology from Panini's Ashtadhyayi we are following in order to understand these suffixes, how they work, how they operate on any dhatu to create a new pratipadika. And so I hope all of you who are here have already gone through all the previous videos on this particular topic, and in this particular video we are again taking 3 new suffixes and we will see how these suffixes they operate on a dhatu to create a new pratipadika. What kind of pratipadika they create, what is the function, what is the use, everything we will see in this video through examples. So without wasting any more time, let's quickly dive in today's video. Okay, so this is the 5th video on our krit suffixes topic. And what are these krit suffixes? So we already know by this point that these are suffixes that change a dhatu into a pratipadika. They create a pratipadika out of a dhatu. Okay. And today in this video, we are covering these 3 suffixes under the category of krit suffix. So lut, ghany and tin pratyay. And these 3 pratyay, so what do? So they create a new pratipadika from a dhatu. And what does that pratipadika denote? So that pratipadika generally denotes the action itself. That is the bhava. In Sanskrit we say the bhava. Okay, so these suffixes, they do other things also. But the main thing that they do is, from a verbal root, they create a new pratipadika with this meaning. The action itself, the bhava. Okay, and again all these things will become even more clear when we take the examples. So we are starting with the first suffix, lut suffix. So what does this suffix denote? So we already know that it creates a pratipadika from a dhatu with this meaning, the action itself, the bhava. Okay, and when we'll see the examples very shortly, you will understand this point. Now what are the it letters of this suffix? So for this lut, the la and the ta, the lakara and the takara, these 2 letters are the it letters. These are the indicatory letters. So then what is the main content of this suffix? So the main content is what remains. So la and ta, these removed, only u, this remains. And due to some sub rule, due to some additional rule, this u, this further changes into ana. Okay. And see, very similar kind of thing we saw with the nuval suffix also. That in nuval suffix also, the main content was this vu. But this vu also further changed into aka. Right? So a same kind of thing is happening here. That the main content of this lut suffix is u. But this also further changes into ana. So this is the main content for this suffix lut suffix. Okay, and lastly, what is the required modifications? So since we don't have any special kind of it letter, so the default modification, that is the guna of the last ik and the guna of penultimate short ik. So this particular modification is like a default modification that if nothing special is happening, so all the krit suffixes, they modify the dhatu according to this modification, that is guna of the last ik or the guna of the penultimate short ik. Okay, but anyways, this is the entire detail for the lut suffix, and now you can just try and remember this point that all the pratipadikas that are formed in the sense of bhava, that all the pratipadikas that have this meaning, the action itself, the bhava, all these pratipadikas are generally neuter gender. Okay, but now let us take few examples. So first pratipadika is darshana. Darshana is act of seeing, right? No, we say no, the darshana of God. That the seeing of God, the act of seeing. Okay, and this pratipadika you can already guess is coming from the dhatu drish dhatu. Okay, so see, our dhatu here is drish dhatu, that means to see. And the act of seeing, this is what we call bhava. Okay, so our dhatu here, drish dhatu, that means to see, is being modified using lut pratyay. Okay, and now let us see if any modification is possible for this dhatu. So the guna of last ik, not possible, because here the dhatu is ending with a consonant. It does not have any last vowel. Okay. And guna of penultimate short ik. Okay, so this is possible because for this drish dhatu, the penultimate vowel is ri. And ri, this belongs to this ik pratyahara. And that too short ik, the risvaswara. Okay, so the guna of ri, this will happen. So drish, this will change into darsh. Okay, because ri, the guna of ri is ar. Right, and for the lut, we already know the main content is this ana. So darsh, ana, we just simply combine them together. So we get the pratipadika darshana. Darshana, that means the act of seeing. Okay, so pretty easy to create this pratipadika out of this dhatu, right? So now let us move on and take another example. Now we have the pratipadika manana. And manana, this is act of thinking. And this pratipadika, again, you can guess, is coming from the dhatu man dhatu. Man dhatu means to think. Okay, so from this dhatu to think, we are getting act of thinking, that is self-reflection, manana. Okay, and how we are getting this? So man dhatu modified using lut pratyay. Again, guna of last ek not possible because in the end we have a consonant, and guna of penultimate short ek again not possible because here man, the penultimate vowel is a, and a does not belong to this ik pratyahara. Okay, remember ik pratyahara. This means all the simple vowels except a and a. So both these modifications not possible. Man, this will remain like this only, man. And from lut, we know the main content is ana. So we combine them together. So manana, this is what we get as a pratipadika out of this dhatu man dhatu. Okay, again a very straightforward way of creating a pratipadika from a dhatu. I hope this is clear. Now let us take one more example, marana. And marana, this means act of dying. Okay, act of dying is basically death, right? So marana, this is the pratipadika. From which dhatu we are getting it? So we are getting it from mri dhatu. Mri dhatu means to die. So we are modifying this dhatu using lut pratyay. Again, we will check if any modification is possible. So guna of last ek. Okay, this is possible. Because for this mri, we have this ri as the last swara. And this belongs to this ik pratyahara. So the guna will happen. So mri, this will change into mar. Why? Because again, the guna of ri is, I hope, by this point you all remember these things. So the guna of ri is ar. So mri changes into mar. And then from lut, we get the main content an. And now pay attention that when we combine them together, so we get the pratipadika marana. Okay, but see, a sandhi will happen. And we generally refer to this sandhi rule as natva sandhi. And natva sandhi, what happens? That within a pada, if a nakara is preceded either by this rakara or this shakara. So if before this nakara within a pada, you have either this ra or sha, so this nakara, this na changes into na. Okay. So due to this natvam sandhi, this marana, this will further modify into marana. Basically this nakara will change into this nakara. So marana. Okay. So this is the final pratipadika we get. Marana, act of dying, that is death. Okay. So I hope this is clear. And see, while we are learning how a suffix is modifying a dhatu, so while we are learning those steps, all these sandhis that are happening. So if you are not very comfortable with the sandhi rule, then I will attach a Sandhi Ashtadhyayi Sandhi Sutra list. I already have attached it in the description box, and all the sandhis that I say, that I speak of here, so all these sandhis are mentioned in that sheet also. Okay, I don't elaborate on the sandhi too much on these videos is because we are not learning sandhi through these videos. We are learning how a suffix is modifying a dhatu. But still, if you have any doubt regarding any sandhis, so you can refer by that sandhi name in that Sandhi Ashtadhyayi Sandhi Sutra list in the description box. Now let us take one more example, Shravana. Okay, and Shravana, again, Shravana means act of hearing. Okay, that is listening, right? And a lot of you can already guess this is coming from the dhatu Shru dhatu. Shru dhatu means to hear. So the act of hearing is Shravana. Again, this dhatu is modified using lut pratyay. So we'll check if any modification is possible. So guna of last ik, again this is possible because as a last vowel we have this u. This u belongs to ik pratyahara. Okay, so the guna of u will happen. The guna of u is, I hope all of you remember, is o. Okay, guna of u is o. The vritti of u is au. So I hope you remember these distinctions. But anyways, this shru, this will change into shro. Okay, and then from lut, we know we get ana. Right? And now when we are about to combine them, we again check for if any sandhi is possible. And a sandhi is possible between these two padas. Because see, this arrangement reminds us of some sandhi. What is that sandhi? So that is a ayadi sandhi, also known as yanta vanta desha sandhi. That if after a o you have a, so this o, this changes into ava. Okay, it is a ayadi sandhi, again a very common sandhi. Okay, so due to this ayadi sandhi, this shro, this will change into shrava. And then you have this ana. Okay, so we get this pratipadika shravana. And now again, the same thing will happen. What happened with that pada marana? So you see this conjunct consonant shra. So this is basically made by sha and ra, right? So since within a pada, this shravana, a nakara is preceded by this rakara. So this nakara will change into this nakara. So the pratipadika that we created, shravana, this again for the last time will modify into shravana. And this is the final pratipadika we get. Just as marana, this was not the final. The final was, instead of na, we got this rana. Marana. Okay, so I hope from this Shru Dhatu using Lut Pratyay, how we got this Shravana, this is clear. All the steps are clear. Okay, so in our Darshan Shastra, no, this is the first step for a lot of things. That when we are trying to pursue the knowledge of the true knowledge, so this is the first step, Shravana. Shravana is listening, and by listening, basically they mean getting all the inputs, getting all the right inputs. So it is either by listening or by reading the Shastras, the proper books. So Shravana is basically the first step for the cognition of any knowledge, because the first step is always taking the inputs, all the right inputs that you can take. Okay, and then Manana, that pada that we saw, Manana is the second step. That once you got all the input, now you have to ponder upon them, now you have to think upon them. That self reflection, that is Manana. So you read and then you reflect on them. So these first two steps are very essential for any kind of knowledge. And both the Manana and Shravana, we saw how we create these Pratipadikas. Okay. And now let us see one more example, Dhyana. So Dhyana is act of meditating. Why? Because the dhatu it is coming from is Dhyay dhatu. Dhyay dhatu means to meditate. Okay, to meditate upon something, to concentrate upon something. So that is Dhyay dhatu. Okay, an act of meditating, that is meditation itself. The bhava itself is this dhyana. Okay, so we are taking this dhatu, Dhyay dhatu, and we are modifying using lut pratyay. Now let us see any required modification if it is possible. So guna of last ik. So this modification is not possible because as a last vowel here we have I. And I, this does not belong to this ik pratyahara. Ik pratyaharas are only the simple vowels. This I is a diphthong. Okay, so it does not belong to this ik pratyahara. This modification is not possible. And guna of penultimate short ik, again not possible. So this dhyay remains as such. But now there is one more additional rule. And that rule basically says that all the dhatus that are ending with any of a diphthong. So all the dhatus that are ending with either a, I, o or au. So for all such dhatus under certain conditions, these diphthongs, these are replaced by a dirgha a. Okay, so this is some additional rule. I don't want to go deep into that rule. Just remember this is some additional rule that is happening here. But due to this sub rule, this dhyay, this modifies into dhya. Okay, so this is some specific modification that is happening with this dhatu. And then from lut, we get this ana. And then we finally combine them together. The dirgha sandhi will happen, due to which dhya plus ana changes into dhyana. Dhyana means act of meditating, that is meditation. Okay, so this is how from dhyay dhatu we create this pratipadika dhyana. I hope this is clear. Okay, and with these examples, I hope this lut suffix, this is clear. And this point is clear, that the action itself, the bhava, that dhyay means to meditate, and act of meditating, that is the action itself, the bhava. So meditation, okay. And now pay attention to this thing, that few other karaka. Okay, and now this term karaka. So what does this karaka denote? So karaka in very simple language means all the different kind of role a word can play in a sentence. And we have already gone through this concept using the vibhaktis, the word cases, that we have seen through examples that a particular word in some sentence can act as a karta, the doer of the action. Okay, but in another sentence, that same word can be the karma, the object, one on whom the action is being done. Then in any other sentence, that same word can be the instrument of action through which some action is done. So that is the third case, tritiya vibhakti. So that is another karaka, that is instrument. Then in some other sentence, that particular word can be the location where the action is happening. That is the seventh vibhakti. So some another karaka. So what is a karaka? Karaka is basically all the different ways, all the different roles, all the different functions a word can play in a sentence. And we see all these karakas using the seven vibhakti, seven word cases. Okay, karta ne, karm ko, karan se. So this entire table, this is karaka. Okay, so far all the examples that we took was with this meaning, the action itself, the bhava. But now let us see few examples where we are using few other karakas. We are creating a pratipadika with the meaning of other karakas as well. So for example, let us see this word karana. Okay, so karana, this as you can guess is coming from kri dhatu. Kri dhatu means to do, so the act of doing. This is the bhava, right? Okay, but this karana can also give the meaning of instrument of doing, something through which we do something else. And that is all we mean with this line, that it can denote few other karakas as well. Here it is denoting the third case. Okay, that karan se karaka. And by the way, how we create this pratipadika from this dhatu, kri dhatu? So this is the same example as we saw for mri dhatu. From mri, we got marana. So from kri, we got karana. Again, the guna will happen of last ek. So kri, this will change into kar. And then from lut, we get this ana. So we get this karana. Okay, but then within this pada, the natva sandhi will happen, due to which this nakara will changes into nakara. So karana, the final pratipadika we get. So decoding it is pretty straightforward. Just remember this additional point that this karana, so besides this meaning, this karana can also be used in the sense of instrument of doing. So we can describe this word with this vigraha. Yena kriyate iti karana. That by which something is done. By which something is done, that is called as karana. So this is all you need to get from this point. Now let us take another example. See, this will clear a lot of doubt if you have any. Asana. So this is the pratipadika asana. And this particular word is associated with this meaning. The place of sitting, right? The place of sitting, rather place of sitting, we also say thing. The thing on which we sit. Okay. This is coming from as dhatu. As dhatu means to sit. And when we modify this as dhatu using lut pratyay, the modification is pretty straightforward. Guna of last ek not possible because we are ending with a consonant, and guna of penultimate short ek again not possible because we have a dirgha a as a penultimate vowel. So both these modifications not possible. This as will remain as such only. And from lut we get this ana. So we just simply combine them together. The pratipadika we get is asana, right? So asana, the default way we can interpret the meaning is act of sitting. That is asana. But again, it can denote few other karakas as well. It can denote other karakas as well. So it is here denoting the saptami vibhakti. That yasmin aste iti asana. Yasmin, in which or on which someone sits. That is asana. Okay, so this pratipadika is not just used in the sense of bhava, but this pratipadika is also used in the sense of another karaka that we represent using the saptami vibhakti, the seventh case, the adhikarana karaka, that in or on where the action is happening. So yasmin aste iti asana, on which or the place where someone sits, that is asana. Okay, so I hope that this bhava and this other karaka, both these distinctions are clear. Okay, now let us take some other example. So we have this pratipadika bhavana, and bhavana again very common word we use to represent house. And why we do that? Let us see. So bhudhatu modified using lut pratyay. So now let us see guna of last ek. Okay, possible, because as the last vowel we have this dirgha u, and guna of this u is o. So this bhu, this will change into bho, right? And for this lut pratyay we know ana is the main content. So we have these two padas, and again the ayadi sandhi, the yanta vanta desha sandhi will happen. So this bho will change into bhav. So this is the ayadi sandhi. I hope all of you can relate. So now we have this arrangement, bhav plus ana, and then we combine them together, we get this pratipadika bhavana. Okay, so bhudhatu means to be. So the act of being, that is bhavana, right? So when this bhavana pratipadika is used in the sense of bhava, so that is the meaning it gives, the act of being. Okay, bhavana. But just as we saw with the previous example asana, this bhavana can be used in another karaka meaning also. That yasmin bhavati iti bhavana. That wherein someone bhavati, someone is, wherein someone is, or basically wherein someone resides, someone stays. So that is also bhavana. So this bhavana can also give this meaning, the place of being. Yasmin kopi bhavati iti bhavana. And that is why the house or the home, we generally in Sanskrit, we use this word also, bhavana. Okay, the place of being. Okay, so this bhavana giving both the bhava, the action itself, this meaning also, and the adhikarana karaka, this flavor also, the saptami vibhakti flavor also. Okay, now let us see this word, pramana. Again, a very common word, pramana. Pramana, we generally think of this word as the proof. But instead of saying pramana as proof, it is basically the means of cognizing something, the means of attaining some knowledge, the instrument of cognizing something. So that is pramana. And we are getting this pratipadika from the dhatu ma dhatu. Ma dhatu basically means to measure, to weigh something, to measure something. But along with this prefix pra, so the meaning becomes to know something, to cognize something. So here we have the main dhatu ma dhatu modified using lut pratyay. Okay, and as you can already see this dhatu, guna of last ik, not possible because in the last we have dirgha a. Dirgha a does not belong to this ik pratyahara. So So this modification not possible. Guna of penultimate short ik again not possible. We don't have any penultimate short vowel. Okay, so basically this ma will remain as such. And from lut we get this ana, right? So we simply combine them together, so we get pramana. So a dirgha sandhi will happen between these two words, but still what we get is this pramana. And again see, the same natva sandhi is happening, that within a pada, the nakara is preceded by this ra. So this pra, this conjunct consonant, this is made using pa plus ra, right? So technically we have a rakara before this na. So due to that natva sandhi, this pramana, this will further modify as pramana. Okay, the nakara changes into nakara. And now see, this particular pratipadika, we 99% of time use this pratipadika in the sense of this karaka only. That is instrument of cognizing. Basically giving this feeling, yena, that through which something is known, through which something is cognized. That is this pramana. Okay, and pramana, the instrument, the means of knowing something, this is the meaning we get from our shastras, the entire Nyaya Darshan. So that is based on this particular topic only, the cognition of any knowledge. So under that, you have the entire section contributed to this particular topic, the means of knowing something, the pramanas, different pramanas. It can be the direct perception, the pratyaksha pramana. It can be the testimonies or the shrutis, the Vedas, they can be the pramana. Or it can be inference, the anumana, that you know something, through that you know something else. So that is also a different kind of pramana. But the point is, this pratipadika pramana is being used in the sense of this karaka, that means of cognizing, the instrument of cognizing, the tritiya vibhakti case, this yena, these keywords. So I hope this is also clear. Now let us take another example. So you see this word bandhana. So this is coming from the dhatu bandh dhatu. Bandh dhatu means to tie something, someone in that sense, to tie. So the act of tying or the act of binding, that is bandhana. Okay, and this bandhana also gives the flavor of the karana se, that karaka. So the instrument of binding, the means of binding or tying something, that meaning also is given through this pratipadika bandhana. So basically something like rope, that can be called as a bandhana, because rope is something that is a means of binding, a means of tying something. Okay, and this bandhana also means the act of binding, the bhava, the action itself. So I hope all the uses of these words it is clear. This is the dhatu bandh dhatu, again modified using lut pratyay. So for lut we get this ana, and let us see if any modification is possible. So guna of last ek not possible, guna of penultimate short ek again not possible. In both the cases we don't have the particular vowel. Okay, so this bandh, this will remain as such, just combined with this ana, combine them together, we get this pratipadika bandhana, straightforward. Okay, and with these many examples, I hope the lut suffix and what does it denote, everything is clear. So I hope all these examples are plenty. If you have any doubt, you can revisit the videos, again see the steps that we take from to create any pratipadika from a dhatu using this particular lut suffix. But anyways, I'll meet you now in the next video where I will cover the remaining two suffixes also, doing the exact same kind of thing, few differences here and there, that we'll cover in the next video. So I'll take a leave now. Vayam punha milamaha. Dhanyavad.